Welcome to the Gamers Lounge for another jam-packed edition of Game Life, where you can get your official dose of gaming goodness. Unfortunately, Dave has lost all affiliation with Game Life and its name, but I still have my buddy Alex here, so the show can go on. Today on the show, we've got reviews of Wingnuts 2, Reina's Revenge,
Went back to Project Poseidon,
Top Gear 3000, and we've got a special guest host review who's going to replace Dave. And that guest host is...
You!
Whoa! Dave? What's up,
Yeah,
man? I didn't expect you...
I know. What am I doing?
Come on.
Well, guess
Come
what?
on over. Join the Game Life party.
You know what? I don't want to get too close here, but let me explain why I'm back. I'm back, not for you,
You're not...
for you, the fans.
is that for the fans?
That's what I just said.
I know, I just how we got there.
Yeah, but we had this whole contest and everything for... We had all these submissions, and all these people are going to be pissed at you now. I mean...
Oh, piss at me! All these submissions, all of these randy dandy reviews. Well, guess what? There is no one out there that can replace me, and wipe that smile off of your face, man. This isn't funny. Considering that you're not even going to be here in episode 7, you just might as well wipe that smile off your damn face.
You have a point
I
there.
came back for the fans. The emails, phone calls, instant messages, private messages, every damn thing you can think of. I'm back for the fans.
And you have a review, too.
Oh, hell yeah. I did a review of Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. That's gonna be quite shocking. Even more shocking than his 7.5 Mario, New Super Mario review.
Wow, I didn't think I could be any more shocking than that. But don't you worry, guys. The winning host is going to be featured in this episode, and we hope you enjoy this revitalization of the whole gang right here on Game Life. I'm going to kick off this edition of Game Life with my long-awaited return to reviewing retro games. I'm going to be reviewing Top Gear 3000 for the Super NES, which is a futuristic racing game made by Kemco. Find out what I think about this game right now. Top Gear 3000 is a 2D racing game that is very similar to F-Zero. I'll explain why that is true in just a minute. However, it is first important to note that this game takes place in the year 2962. So, of course, it's a futuristic racing game. But you already knew that, right? This game has a ton of modes, including a 4-player mode, which is a rarity for a Super NES game. Most people don't have this SNES multiplayer adapter, so really, this mode is pretty much useless. However, the real meat of this game comes from the 1 and 2 player modes. Here, you can race on the 47 different tracks on hard mode, and also use the deep customization system for your car. This customization feature allows you to pimp out your car with a better gearbox, tires, engines, boost system, a tractor device, jump devices, and much more. The thing I like best about this customization feature, besides how deep it is that new items come in every few races, so you always want to get the latest and greatest things for your car. Now earlier I said that this game was kinda like F-Zero. This is true because of the recharge and repair system. The recharge system applies to your fuel. When you start to get low on fuel, you want to go to the areas that are in red on the track. If you run out of fuel, however, your race is still not over. This is because you don't come to a complete stop, but rather you come to a crawl, which means you can get a bump from a car and it will speed you up temporarily, and you may be able to find your way back to the refuel station and get back on track. The repair sections are blue and have to do with your armor. If you like to bump into things onto the racetrack, your car's integrity will be lost and your car will slow down as a result. This can be fixed by going to the repair sections on the track. In the later tracks, you will have to choose between repair and recharge. This is because there are often two different routes you can take, and each has only one of the power-ups. This makes the game fun, but at the same time, very challenging because there's an element of strategy involved that isn't in other racing games. Another thing that I love about this game is that there are many different power-ups like boosts and jumps and like money on the track that you can pick up, and it just makes the game really interesting to play because each track has different power-ups and different things to it, so it keeps it fresh and new. The soundtrack for this game is just plain amazing. Kemco could not have gotten the music any more appropriate or well done than they have. The only problem with it is that the engine noise from the cars is sometimes so loud and so annoying that you can barely hear the music sometimes. Another downfall to this game is that it just becomes a little bit too repetitive after playing for a while. These two flaws are extremely minor, so it really doesn't affect the game all that much.
Top Gear 3000 is like the long-lost brother in the Top Gear series. It has a killer soundtrack, great graphics, but best of all, awesome gameplay. It even has some customization options that compete with today's racing games. All in all, I give this game a 9.5 out of 10.
Among the recently popular brain training games for the DS, there is one often overlooked title, Namco's Magic Eye Museum. This addicting puzzle game involves comparing two pictures and circling the differences between the two. Now, because it is a fairly simple game and not too much content, I thought I would also show you how to make Nintendo-themed cupcakes at the same time. First, you are going to bake a flat, square cake. And it doesn't matter what kind you make, just as long as eventually you come out with a square or a rectangle, something that we can cut in half and stack on top of each other. Magic Eye Museum has a few different levels of gameplay. In arcade mode, you work your way through 10 levels, unlocking newer and more difficult styles of puzzles as you go. Each puzzle presents two pictures, the top one being the original and the bottom one being the variant. You have about 10 seconds to find and circle the difference between the two pictures before you fail. The game is usually very forgiving when it comes to the shape of your circle, and often a pathetic loop is acceptable. Not so when you're making these question block cupcakes. What I've done here is I've taken the two layers of cake and I've frosted the middle, and you can use whatever you want. I have vanilla frosting, but you can use chocolate pudding or whatever. I'm going to put the top layer on. Just push it down slightly so that the frosting oozes back to the edge. And then we're just going to make little cubes. Now that we've cut our cakes into little mini squares, we are going to apply orange colored frosting, which this is just vanilla frosting with a little bit of orange food coloring in it. So, just going to cover the top, and we are well on our way to having award-winning cupcakes. You can also win awards in this game. If you can complete the puzzles quickly and correctly enough, then you will earn yourself a bronze, silver, or gold medal. These medals unlock a special mode in which there are variations of basic gameplay. These variations include picture score upside down, backwards, animated, or scrolling. In some of the puzzles, the bottom picture is obscured with dust or fallen leaves, and you will need to scratch at the surface of the DS with your stylus or blow into the microphone to reveal the difference. In others, you are shown a picture of an assembled object at the top of the screen and components on the bottom. In this case, you circle whatever is not part of the picture above. Arcade mode is fun and fast-paced, but my favorite mode doesn't time you at all. You just sit back, relax, listen to soft lullabies, and find 10 differences in the pictures. There is also a daily fortune mode, but unless you read Japanese, you're probably not going to use it that much. The multiplayer mode is also fun. Up to 8 players can look at the same 2 pictures, and the first one who finds the difference wins. Back over here, we've got our cupcakes all frosted and ready to go. And the last thing we need to do is paint on our question marks. Now you can do this with prepared icing, but I like to make things harder on myself, and I've mixed up a little bit of cocoa and water. I like this game, and the only downfall I can think of is that it's just too short. There are about 100 pictures total, but after a while they become a little repetitive. So I give it an 8 out of 10. These cupcakes, however, I give a 10 out of 10.
Went Back to Project Poseidon is the sequel to the remake of the Nintendo 64 game. This game sucks hard. You'll find out why in my review.
Craig Contrell, Mia Cabrera, and Nick Bruno are part of an anti-terrorism group. They follow the orders from their headquarters to either arrest terrorists or save hostages. It's pretty basic, nothing too special to see here. Move along now. Let's start off with the positives. It's cool to know that you can target certain body parts of an enemy, whether it be the legs, head, or arms. Genji 2 fans will be happy to realize that there is indeed real-time weapon change in this game. So when in the heat of battle, you'll easily be able to switch weapons on the fly. When you're using the right analog stick, the camera controls quite nicely. Otherwise, when you're running around, the camera automatically shifts to an awkward position that will hinder your progress in the game. The cool thing about this game is that it has a route system in which you play as 2 characters who help each other out. One character's actions affect the other character's route as well. So, yeah. But, this leads me to the downside of this whole game. And this is where I have a field day. The negative about this route system is that your characters share the same life bar, or for the matter of this game, CRT points. This downfall can piss anyone off when they have to realize that once you die, you have to start the mission all over again, which could lead to a lot of frustration and broken controllers. Which brings me to my next concern. The enemy AI. Their generic and repetitive offensive maneuvers allow no room for spontaneity and make it pathetic if you die from them. What is also sad about this is how slowly it takes for an enemy to realize where you are in relation to them.
It's a nice chocolate drink.
Controlling your character is crap, thanks in part to the horrible rolling animation that you try to use when you go over a laser trap. It gets clunky and you unintentionally die by contact with the laser. The character and enemy models look blocky yet decent, while the weapon icons are arcadey spinning blue silhouettes. They really detract from the overall environment that's pretty bland in its own regard. Went Back to Project Poseidon has a lot of in-game music that is very uninspired. Couple that with bad voice acting.
I'm gonna kill you! I'm going to kill you! You're hiding like a wussy. Where the bastard? Pig!
and you know you're in for some danger right there.
Press the start button. Who would ever want to play this game? We got bad AI, horrible scenery that's repetitive, might I add, dated graphics, horrible voice acting. That's all I can say about this sucky game. This game gets a 5.5 out of 10, and that's that.
I want to change the world.
Hi, fangirls! I'm Naruto! Alright, I love anime! Anime is so cool. It's so cool, and I love everything about it. It's so realistic, except there's fighting robots, and there's none of that Teen Titan totally spy bullshit that I hear about all the fucking time! I fucking hate it! Oh, God.
Mega Man Battle Network 6 is an ongoing RPG series made just for kids, even though a bunch of pedophile porn websites like Star69 exist for it. Ever since the third game, there's always been 2 versions of the game, each with varying differences. The story is very homosexual, gay-like, just like the whole Mega Man community. You play as Lan, a young kid and whatever. He joins forces with Megaman.exe, our loyal Blue Bomber computer program who runs around the internet wearing skin-tight spandex. Together, the incest-loving brothers Lan and Megaman must come over many obstacles to realize that their friendship is nothing to be fucked with. They are joined by many allies who help out in many different ways, such as Spread Your Legs and Let Me Smell Your Daddy's Breath Male, and her equally slutty counterpart Roll.exe. And many new returning characters are back to make a profit for Capcom! Battle play is simple, but the formula works. You're given a 3x3 grid to move around in, along with your enemies' own 3x3. You're forced to stay within your own boundaries. The object, however, is to kill the opposing enemies with your Mega Buster and Battle Chips. Chips can be found from the enemy, bought from a shop, found around the internet, or given in a deal. Chips are given an A to Z code, and you may only choose up to 5 chips at a time if they are the same chip or if they share the same letter code. Otherwise, they will not be able to go together. What makes this version of Battle Network so fucking different is that you can cross views with 1 out of 6 friends you meet during the storyline. You also turn into a certain beast depending on which version you're using. Whatever I do, it's my choice! This is your best rock band! Disappointing!
No! She's so hot! Would I give Mega Man Battle Network 6 Gregia and Falter? Well, it's the same thing as the first game, but it does actually have some very interesting twerps to it. The graphics are the same exact sprites they used for EXE4. Sound actually is magnificent. It's kind of like sex music. I mean, it's really corny, but you can listen to it in the background, you know, while you're doing other things. I give this game, you know, Mega Man Battle Network has done well for me. 9.5. Back to you in the Gamers Lounge. Oh my fucking god, Kawaii Nickelback!
I'm here in the Computer Corner section of the Gamers Lounge, and I'm reviewing Wingnuts 2, Rayna's Revenge, a Mac-only game. You don't see many of those around these days, do you? This game is a 360-degree shooter that will remind you of the days of the old NES. And it will also remind you of some newer classics as well. Find out why in my review.
Now, before I even begin my review, I'm gonna tell you that Windows fans can still play the prequel to this game, Wingnuts. So, if you like what you see here, go and try out the prequel to this game because it's available for both Mac and Windows. So now that I've got both PC and Mac gamers' attention, it's time to take a look at what makes this game special. The storyline is very simple. An alien creature dude attacks your little prison thing, and basically what your job is just to get it back from whoever captured it, because you have no idea. The way you're going to go about this is by using many different planes, which are based off of real model planes, and by attacking the ships and different challenges that come about. First, there's many different little planes that you need to attack. Then, after that, there's a big boss character, or sometimes not so big boss character, who tries to beat you up and make you crash on your plane. Now, what makes this game so special is that each different airplane is equipped with different stats. So you're going to want to pick wisely which airplane you want to use for each mission. If your plane is low on fuel or shields, then you can go to the carrier, which has both of those things for you. If you don't land on the carrier, then there's always the possibility that you might pick up the fuel power-ups and shield power-ups and other weapon power-ups that are scattered throughout the various worlds in this game. If you can't collect any of these goodies, as they're called, or to get back to the carrier, you'll probably run out of fuel. If not, you'll probably be shot down by one of the enemies. If you do get shot down, then you're going to have to select another airplane from the selection available. Now, your current airplane is lost for the rest of the game. You can't come back to it, even if you want to. But you do get other airplanes, bigger and better ones, as the game progresses, which is very, very cool. This method of play can be fun for a little while, but it gets really repetitive. I mean, just the whole arcade shooting aspect of it, and it just doesn't really have enough interesting stuff in it to really last you in playing the game for a period of like 1 hour or more, let's say. However, when you want to play for a small period of time, this game is perfect because of the high difficulty, which really prevents you from storming through this game. Another thing that kind of bugged me was the voice acting in this game. Although most of the voice acting comes from the bosses, and they're just hilarious in what they have to say, referencing pop culture stuff.
I have also dreamt of Tony Danza in a jacuzzi, but that one I don't talk about.
The rest of the acting is from Jen, the main pilot, where it feels like they just put 2 seconds into production of that. I mean, it just sucks. These are a few of the minor flaws in this game that hold it back from being a really great game.
Wingnuts 2 is a great example of why Macintosh gaming is still alive. This game has some of the best sound I've ever heard coming from a Macintosh, some of the best 2D graphics I've ever seen, and it controls like a dream. The only problem this game has is that it just doesn't last long enough, and it's also a little bit too hard for some people, even on the lowest difficulty. Overall though, this game is a great addition to any Macintosh gamer's library. I give it an 8.0 out of 10.
Well, I'm back, and this time I'm going to be reviewing Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the PlayStation 2. Now, of course, a portable game really isn't meant for the PlayStation 2, or for that matter, any other home console. Unless, of course, it was on the console first. So, right now, I'm going to take a look at the big mistake of porting a PSP game onto a PlayStation 2. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is no different from its predecessors, and in fact, in this case, I think it might be worse, if that's possible. The graphics are the same PSP graphics, and in fact, when you think about it, Rockstar Games did have the time and money to go and enhance the graphics. However, they chose not to, and that really brings this game down. Otherwise, it may have had potential. Not. The gameplay is the same stuff. I mean, come on. Show me something new here. You simply just go and do missions, which basically have been in all of the other Grand Theft Auto games. So, yeah, it's kind of boring. The sound, on the other hand, is pretty cool. I love the voice acting, as I always have in the past installments of the series, and the music allows the player to hear some songs that they may not have heard elsewhere, and that really adds to the game a lot. In terms of the replayability, I mean, come on. Of course people are gonna want to play it. You go run around and shoot people. Whoopee freaking do! It's the same shit. But people love it. Come on, what's the matter with you? Go back and play Doom or something. Other than that, I do find this a pretty good game, but, you know, that was a whole laundry list of details. The main problem here is the AI. In some points it can be great, and it can be hard in terms of getting the missions complete, but other than that, the missions are fairly easy, and, you know, you can just beat it in a very short time. The main downfall about this game is that there are no side missions like there have been in previous installments. I mean, like some nice car races or stuff like that. Come on, show me something. Story, I forgot! It's your basic story. You freaking are a gangster coming back from whatever. You know, it's the same stuff, so... someone wake me up when this is done, alright? So basically, to sum it up, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is a car crash waiting to happen. The graphics are bland, the sound is decent, the gameplay is repetitive, and that basically sums it up. So, I hope I don't get any backlash, but I know I'm gonna. I'm gonna give this game a 4 out of 10. Yeah.
PC game that is a chilling struggle between life or death. You're given a mission in which if you succeed, everybody lives, but if you fail, everybody dies. It's a very intense game. It has phenomenal gameplay. The sound, while a little spotty, is very fitting for the game, and the graphics, while not quite up to par, are also very fitting for the game. So let's get to it. Okay, so there are 3 difficulty levels for the game. There's beginner for those who can't quite handle the intensity of it, intermediate for those who are a little more daring, and expert for those with giant brass balls. There's also custom. I try to avoid custom. Custom is dumb. So here we are on expert, as can be seen by the size of the board and the amount of mines up in the corner, 99. That is the expert number of mines. As you can see, the graphics aren't particularly stellar, but they don't necessarily need to be. This game is more about the grittiness and rawness of life and death. And I mean, I think the graphics are just perfect for the purpose that they serve. Now the sound for the game is just, it's pretty cool. Now it seems kind of stupid at first because the only real sound that there is the timer going, and it just makes this like click, click, click noise. But once it gets to when you hit a mine, well, I think you should hear for yourself. Amazing. That's really all there is to it. And I mean, there's no sort of ambient music or anything in the game, but I think it would more detract than add, because the game is more of a serious game, and the music would just kind of make it feel more like a production and less like you're actually there on this minefield with these mines sweeping for them. And I think that would just take a good deal of the enjoyment away from the game. And finally we get to the gameplay, which is the proverbial meat and potatoes of the video game world. There's not a whole lot to the gameplay other than pointing and clicking, but the good folks at the Microsoft Corporation have managed to take that to new depths that I never would have imagined were possible in a game, ever. You can do several different things to clear the minefield, the most obvious of which is looking at the numbers that you see on the screen and deducing how many mines there are around that number, and then trying to figure out where the mines are based on that, which is, I guess, a good way to do it. Or, if you are like me and you can't drive 55, you can just haphazardly click all over, and as you can see, that typically doesn't end in victory, but I play the game the way I want to play it, okay? I mean, and I like the fact that they allow you to do that. You don't have to play their way. You can play it your way, and this is my way. And that's how it is. And that's why this gameplay is phenomenal.
Well, that's about all she wrote for this edition of Game. But who's the stranger standing next to me? Well, as a matter of fact, it's Electronic Gaming Monthly's Robert Ashley.
Hello.
You can see us in EGM very soon, and you can find out when that will be at our website at www.gamelifeshow.com. And remember,
It's not just life, it's
Game Life!